Today, I'll describe The Thinning, an American drama thriller film. Spoilers follow. Keep an eye out and be cautious. The year is 2039, and the Earth has gotten overcrowded. The human species is on the point of extinction. The United Nations mandates that all countries reduce their populations by 5% each year. Following such commands, the US adopts a regulation known as the thinning. Every year, students in the school must take a standardized exam. Those who fail the exam are executed by being injected with a drug. The film begins with Lena Michaels instructing a high school student called Simon. Simon seems to be having difficulty completing the equations, so he approaches Lena for assistance. She pulls a box of lenses from her bag and delivers it to him. Simon can answer all of the arithmetic problems as soon as he puts them on. In other news, we meet Edward Blake Redding, the son of Texas Governor Dean Redding. He slips out of his home at night and drives to Ellie Harper's place. Blake begins to discuss the upcoming exam the next day. Ellie is terrified, but Blake tells her that she will pass. Just then, Blake's father's bodyguard discovers them and returns Blake to Dean's office. Dean is upset with Blake for leaving the night before such a critical exam. Ellie, he believes, is a diversion for Blake. The exam is scheduled for the next day. Many pupils formed a queue outside the school. Before they can enter, they must go through a thorough security check. Blake requests one of Lena's study glasses, but she is out. Lena and her buddy, Kellen Woods, wait in line to enter. Cheats were scribbled on one of the kid's arms. When he is apprehended, he attempts to flee. The guards apprehend him. Nobody has ever been able to avoid or cheat on the examinations. Inside the school, Blake and Ellie embrace one more time before entering the test hall, where the exam begins shortly. They have 2 hours to finish the exam. Everyone begins working on their tablets to solve the difficulties. Lena solves them all without a hitch and is the first to finish. Kellen, her buddy, seems to be suffering. When the test is over, students instantly get the results. The instructor is calling out names of students who failed the test. Students are nervous, hoping that this would be over soon. Those that fail are apprehended by guards. They scream, oppose the soldiers, and some even attempt to flee. Students who resist would be beaten by the guard. Fortunately, Lena, Kellen, and Blake escape. However, Blake's girlfriend, Ellie, is summoned by the instructor at the last time, and the guards whisk her away. He promptly phones his father and requests that he assist Ellie. However, his father disagrees, claiming that the law applies to everyone equally. Frustrated, he flees to rescue her. He confronts the guards and begs Ellie to flee, but she refuses. Nobody would be able to flee. Blake continues to attempt to assist Ellie, but there is nothing further he can do. It's now a year later, and the thinning test is just 24 hours away. Corinne, Lena's younger sister, is having her first thinning test. The doorbell goes off. Ms. Birch, Lena's teacher, has been caring for Lena and Corinne as if they were her own children since their mother's death. She attempts to calm Lena down since Corinne's first exam is tomorrow and Lena is worried about her sister, but she promises them that everything will be alright. Meanwhile, Blake is filming a video in his room to teach his father a lesson. He plans to write all incorrect answers on the exam. On the day of the exam, Lena sends Corinne off to kindergarten. Corinne's class is shown a video animation showing the current status of the Earth. Thus, all countries must lower their populations by 5% per year. Some governments imposed restrictions, such as limiting couples to have just one child. Others were executing the elder generation. However, in America, the government opted to retain just the brightest and kill the rest. These kids are no different. The children's test follows. Their instructor is distressed because some of the youngsters will be executed. Corinne, thankfully, passes the exam. Lena and Kellen also arrive at school for their exams. The exam begins and ends quickly. Meanwhile, Governor Dean is angry after discovering Blake's recording. He summons Mason King, the test manager, and instructs him to pass Blake regardless of his result. Mason swaps his score with Lena, causing her to fail. The test results have arrived, but to everyone's amazement, Lena's name has also been called. She failed the exam. Ms. Birch intervenes as the guards approach her, arguing that she is her finest pupil and that there must be something wrong with the system. The results, however, are final and cannot be modified. She provides Lena a keycard, allowing her to open the doors and flee. Blake is astonished that he did not flunk. Students that pass attend a school reception to honor their accomplishments. Dean is delivering a speech as governor to proclaim his candidacy for President of the United States. He extols their educational system. As a consequence of their system, they are the best in education among 196 nations, with a 26% decrease in crime. Blake attends the celebration and listens to his father's speech before sneaking away. He slips into the corridor and beats one of the guards. He then enters the control room. Meanwhile, Lena and the failing pupils are brought into a room and placed against a wall. They are required to remove all of their clothes in order to be decontaminated. Then Lena and the others are led to a chamber where they will be executed by lethal injection. Blake abruptly turns off the power, causing the whole school to become dark. Taking advantage of this opportunity, the students who are going to be killed free themselves and attempt to flee. Except for Lena, none of them succeed. She exits the room using the keycard her instructor had given her. Mason soon enters the room and requests a head count. They discover Lena is gone and begin searching for her. Blake locates Lana and assists her in battling one of the guards. While conversing, they see that something has been done to Blake and Lena's findings. They both enter a vent and conceal. They then trace the network cables to the server room to see the findings on the computer. Meanwhile, the school remains under total lockdown due to a power outage. The news makes its way outdoors and is aired across the state. Outside, the parents are becoming apprehensive. Governor Dean contacts Mason to discuss the matter. Meanwhile, one of the vents under Blake collapses, causing him to tumble into the swimming pool below. Lena dashes after him. She pulls him from the water, but he isn't breathing. Lena does CPR on him and manages to rescue him. Blake and Lena change into clothing they found in the locker room at the pool. They go via the ducts to the server room, but a guard waits in front of the entrance. Lena's keycard also falls through the vent in front of the guard. He doesn't see the card, but she needs it back somehow. Her idea is to go to the science lab and tie a line to a magnet in order to fish the key through the vent. So they walk down to the lab to get the necessary equipment. However, they create a tiny disturbance in the lab, forcing the guard to approach. They flee swiftly. Lena makes it back to the vents, but Blake is trapped in the lab. Lena goes through it, looking for the keys. She successfully gets it halfway up when a guard snags it. But it turns out that Blake is the guard in disguise. He had beaten the guard and changed his clothing. Soon after, the guard they assaulted earlier informs Mason about them. He explains that Lena was carrying a keycard. Mason collects all of the instructors, thinking that it has been delivered to their pupils. Ms. Birch flirts with another teacher and steals his key card while in the room with the other instructors. Mason proceeds to verify the instructors' key cards and ID cards. Birch protects herself by displaying the card. Mason threatens the other instructor with telling them where Lena is since he doesn't have his. However, while Mason hits him, he swears that he knows nothing. Lena arrives in the server room. She unlocks the computer with the key card, but Mason has it password protected. She then contacts Kellen, who is skilled at hacking, to request access. Kellen eventually gets Lena's SMS. He assists her in gaining access to Mason's computer. Lena then looks for her results and discovers that she received 98% but failed, whilst Blake received 15% and passed. She does more research and discovers that Ellie, too, received an 88% and failed, while others with lower grades passed. Lena learns the grade system is rigged and that the governor has been failing anybody he wants. Lena gives Kellen a file with the manipulated grades. However, the electricity is quickly restored, and Mason realizes she is in the server room. Lena understands this and flees. Mason, on the other hand, captures her almost instantly. Blake, on the other hand, remains disguised. He is among the unsuccessful pupils. He directs the guard to transport them to the recreational hall with the rest of the kids, but the guard refuses, and the two fight. The guards apprehend him and learn his identity. Kellen gets Lena's message just then and is astonished to discover the faked results. Kellen knows a news anchor and promptly sends it to the news station. The news was aired, and the receipts of the altercation were shown in the results. After the images are revealed, the governor is summoned by his party's chairman, who threatens to withdraw his presidential bid. Dean Redding, unable to let that happen, throws all the charges onto Mason and claims he is innocent. He attempts to prove this, thus he is forced to murder everyone who failed, even his own son, Blake. Mason and the guards take Lena to the thinning chamber to execute her and the others. Blake is also there. Mason phones Dean to inquire whether they should continue with the execution of the pupils. Dean, on the other hand, orders him to stop. He wants the pupils who did not pass the exam to be killed, including his own son. The guards release Lena and the other pupils who passed the exam. Lena kisses Blake, but the guards remove him and the other unsuccessful candidates. They are executed by injecting them with a lethal medication. Lena is reunited with her younger sister, Corinne, and Ms. Birch as the lockdown ends. A few hours later, we observe the executed students' corpses being transported down on an elevator. The kids begin to stir, showing that the medicine they were given was a sleeping pill. They come to a halt when they reach a factory-like setting. It is stocked with products made by the IT firm Assura Global. The plant employs a large number of employees. Blake is astonished to discover that one of them is Ellie, his girlfriend. This suggests that the pupils who are scheduled to be killed are instead taken underground to serve as slaves for a multi-million-dollar corporation. All of this was organized by the government as a ploy to get free labor.